Hi library friends, this is Miss Lian from the Huntley Area Public Library. We're back with another fun craft video. Today we're going to be making some paper lanterns, so let's get into the video. Supplies you'll need to make a paper lantern. You'll need one sheet of construction paper. You'll need some tissue paper, so I have purple and blue tissue paper. You can do the same color tissue paper if you'd like. You'll need a small bowl to trace a circle with. You'll need ribbon or string, whatever you have. A hole puncher. 2 different colored markers, so I picked markers that were close to the colored tissue paper, which will make sense later. You'll need a ruler, and of course you'll need some scissors and some glue. So first what you're going to want to do is grab your marker and your ruler. You're going to draw 5 lines, 3 A lines and 2 B lines. You're going to pick which marker is going to be your A line and which marker is going to be a B line. So I already picked that purple is going to be my A line and blue is going to be my B line. So you're going to want to draw your A line in the middle of your paper, which I already did. You're going to want to measure from the line 1 inch apart. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So then, for the A lines, it's going to be every other line. So from the center line, you're going to take your B marker, and with the 2 marks that you made 1 inch apart from the middle line, you're going to draw a B line with your B marker. Now the reason why we're using different marker colors is so that we can tell the difference between the lines easier. And then you're gonna go to your 1st and your 5th mark, and you take your A marker and draw your A line. So you should have 5 lines in front of you. You should have 3 A lines. And you should have 2 B lines. And it should be about the size of your bowl. You just want to leave a little bit hanging off of the edges. Now you're going to put your marker away, you're going to grab your ruler and your tissue paper, and you want to get about 20 squares out of your tissue paper. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure the length of our lines. So we want it to be about, let's see, we'll say 1 inch. So we want the square to be 6 inches. Yep, 6 inches. So you're gonna mark on your paper, if you can, try to mark where your 6 inches is and where you're going to be cutting. So basically, you just want to make sure that you have a square. And what I did is I folded the tissue paper on top of each other so that you can get 20 sheets of squares out of 5 big pieces of paper. So now you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut. You want to try to make all the sheets of paper even. So since I folded it, I'm going to be cutting the folded side off, and then I'll measure the 6 inches again. And then I want to make sure that one side is at least even. So we're going to cut right here. Okay, we're going to cut that off. Alright. So now we're going to take our piece of paper, try to line up all the paper here. Alright, so I have this corner basically lined up. So what I'm going to do is take my ruler and measure 6 inches. And if it's not exactly 6 inches, that's okay because we did take a little extra on the sides of the paper. You just want to make sure it's about 6 inches. So there's our square, and now we're going to be, so there's our square. Now we're going to be cutting it out. Alright, so So now we have our squares and we can put the tissue paper away. And you're gonna wanna clean up your desk because it is gonna get a little messier. Okay. So make sure you count out that you have about 20 sheets of paper. So, and if you're doing 2 colors, make sure you have 10 of each. So you have 10 purple and 10 blue. So we're gonna match up. The reason why I picked the blue and purple markers is because it's gonna match up with our blue and purple tissue paper. So if you're having 2 different colors, you wanna find markers that are about the same color as the tissue paper so that you'll know which line you're gonna be on. So the lines are gonna be where we're gonna be gluing. Alright. You're gonna wanna take your glue stick. So the reason we have the different colored lines is to match up with my different colored sheets of paper. We're going to be drawing the A lines on the purple tissue paper and the B lines on the blue tissue paper. You want to make sure you try and get the tissue paper in the middle of the paper. So where the middle of the tissue paper, you want that A line to be. So remember, A line goes on purple, B line goes on blue. Or if you have one color, just remember which line you're on. So you're gonna draw your A lines with your glue stick. And then you're gonna wanna take your blue piece of tissue paper and place it right on top as best as you can. And then just stick it down. And then, so the blue is where you're going to be drawing the B lines. And if the tissue paper moves around, it's okay, you can just place it back. And then you're going to take a purple tissue paper and place it on top of your blue tissue paper. And then you're going to keep going until you have no tissue papers left. Okay, so you have all your squares glued together on the correct A and B lines. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the square off of here. You're gonna wanna draw a circle. You're gonna wanna leave a couple spaces at the top of the circle though, because you are gonna reuse the paper one last time. So use your pencil, trace a line with the bowl, and then you're gonna cut this out. So it's best if you So you're going to be using this again. And you're going to want to cut the circle out. So you have your circle cut out. Now what you're going to do is you're going to glue the circle onto the middle of the paper. So take your glue, and then you're going to glue it just like that. Now if the markings bother you, you can just get a new piece of construction piece. Now if the markings bother you, you can just get a new piece of construction paper, but it doesn't matter because you won't even see the white piece of paper. Alright. And if there's some edges lifting off, you are going to want to glue those edges down. So just take your glue stick and try to get it in there and glue it down. Edge over here. Alright. Now you're gonna cut around the circle. And now you see that, you can just cut it out. So the paper will want to fold when you're cut. The tissue paper will want to fold when you're cutting it, so you can just go back and trim it. So now you have your circle. And if you flip through the circle, you should be able to see that there's different pages. Okay. You want to try and you want to go through the different sheets and make sure that the blue and the purple are sticking to where they're supposed to be. Okay. Now what you want to do is, so the reason why I glued the line circle on top of it is so that you know which way the glue lines are going and which way you don't want to cut it. So you don't want to cut it you don't want to cut it on the glue line. You want to cut it across the glue lines. So what you want to do is fold the circle in half to figure out where the center of the circle is. And you're just going to use your scissors and cut it. Just like that. And now you're going to go back. You're going to flip the circle to the tissue paper side, and you're going to want to draw the glue lines again. So since we're on the purple one, we're going to do the A lines. And if the A line is hanging off, that's okay. Just do your best to draw the 3 lines. And then you're going to stick your other sheet right on top of it. You're going to let that dry for about 1 to 2 minutes. Now since the glue dried, you're going to gently open up your circle to see your result. And if there's a couple pieces sticking together, you're just going to want to pull it apart lightly as you can. The easiest way is to take a pencil and just try to slide it through the middles. And if it doesn't come apart, then that means that those two are supposed to stick together. But if it comes apart easily, then that means that they shouldn't stick together. So for example, like right there, it came out easily, and it should come out easily right there too. It should be easy to figure out where your holes should be because they should match up with the holes next to it. Alright, and once you get all the openings done, what you're going to want to do is glue one side of the white sheets of paper. Make sure you don't get it on the... Oh crap, I forgot. Glue it onto a white piece of paper. I forgot a step. What you're going to do is take your hole puncher, and you want to hole punch both sides of paper. So if the glue dries up, we can just place new glue on top of it. So you can't go through all of them at once. So what I found is the easiest is go through a little bit at a time, and then use those holes to go through the others. So what I do is, I did the hole punch on a couple pieces. I pull a couple new pieces to the hole punched area and try to line it up where the hole is, and just punch a hole. Except my hole puncher is not working the way it should. So if your hole puncher isn't working like mine is, you can just cut off that little piece that's sticking to it. You just want to make sure that there's a hole you can stick your string through, that's all. Oops. Just want to make sure that there's a hole on both sides. So I'm going to go punch the other side and we'll be right back. So, I hole punch both sides of the ends. Now what you want to do now is grab a piece of string. You want to cut off 2 pieces of string. It doesn't matter what length. And then you're going to want to tie the string as loosely as possible. So, you got the string tied loosely as possible on one end. You're gonna want to tie the string loose on both ends. You want to leave a generous So now you have the strings tied loosely on both ends so that they can move around. Now we're going to go back to gluing their circle together. So you want to make sure that the strings are out of the way. Grab your glue again, and you're going to want to glue. You want to make sure that you don't get the glue on the outside onto the tissue paper, because that's just going to make some of the tissue paper stick together. So you just want to glue the center of the paper. And then you're going to open up, this is the tricky part, you're going to want to open up your half circles. The easiest way is I stick my finger in one of these holes on the sides just to get a good grip of it. And then you're gonna want to stick the 2 sheets of white. You're gonna want to stick the white pieces of paper together, and you kind of want to do it almost perfectly together too. And then if you want to, if you see that there's a couple of pieces of paper coming apart, you can just go back and stick some glue on it. And then try to stick the paper on. It's really apart now. So what I'm doing is I'm going through and trying to, if I see a hole that's coming apart, all I'm doing is trying to glue it back together. Alright, and there you have a paper lantern. And there's your paper lantern. The trick to making a paper lantern is the number of sheets you use. So the minimum you want to use is about 20 sheets of paper. But the bigger the lantern is, the more sheets of paper you're going to need to use. Thanks for watching. Make sure you log on to huntleylibrary.org for all your digital content you have access to with your library card. We'll see you next time. Stay safe. Bye.